The family. It's where we love, laugh, shout and cry.
Oh, fall off.
It makes us who we are. But it hasn't always been the cherished institution it is today. To find out how the modern family came to be, a group of parents and kids from across Britain are turning back time to face the same ordeals as millions of others over the past 100 years. In the northern seaside town of Morecambe, the past is coming alive. A row of terraced houses has been turned into time machines to transport our families through the twists and turns of the 20th century. From the age of masters and servants...
I felt a bit emotional because I knew she was there to take the children away, which is quite difficult.
Through the roaring 20s, to the Depression.
Anything else of value will need to be sold.
The fact that it was in front of the family, I felt really useless.
From life on the home front...
Another era, another separation.
To the swinging 60s.
I'm slightly concerned about the length of their skirts.
We're starting the rebellion right now.
And on to the groovy 70s.
I couldn't give a damn about material things. For me, family is the most important thing.
And the past is about to get personal.
Rather than just living in a museum, we're actually living an ancestor's life.
She died of TB consumption.
I'm starting to feel quite emotional. We take so much for granted, I think.
We're turning back time to find out how history made the family what it is today. The family's extraordinary adventure through time is set to continue as they return to Albert Road to experience family life in the Second World War. Between 1939 and 1945, the whole country faced a desperate battle for survival. On hand to guide the time travelers through their unique historical experience are historical gadget expert Joe Crowley, working mum and queen of the breakfast sofa, Susanna Reid, and social historian Juliet Gardner, who will ensure that the constraints of wartime are strictly enforced.
Welcome back to Albert Road. It's now 1940 and Britain is at war.
Of course, we can't recreate the danger and fear of wartime, and nor would we want to. But you will be experiencing some of the privations and restrictions that British families endured during the Second World War.
Men, women, children, the whole country was mobilised as part of the war effort. It was a terrifying time, but also a time of great change, and really, in many ways, the recognisable beginnings of modern Britain.
Your challenge in this era is to face up to the ordeal of fighting the war on the home front. You'll be expected to pull together, show Blitz spirit, and some good old British stiff upper lip.
As the families head home, big changes await. The houses are now fully prepared for war.
All taped up,
It's taped up and there's blackout blinds. Why have the tape on the window?
so that if there was an explosion, it would hold all the glass in place. That's why they taped the windows up, so if it wouldn't blow the glass through.
At home in Norfolk, Michael Taylor and wife Adele lead a down-to-earth life. But thanks to Michael's wealthy mill-running ancestor, they've been living as members of the upper middle class.
We're house servants when we go home.
But posh was far from perfect.
I'm gutted. I want to go out as well.
Adele Taylor struggled with an opulent lifestyle that separated her from her family.
I'm not the mother of these children. The nanny has been the mother of the children.
With the country at war, the servants are a thing of the past.
Yeah, look, no staff. Fantastic.
Oh, we got ring the bell.
Adele has finally got what she wants. A chance to run the family home.
Oh, it's fantastic.
No
I'm
staff,
really
go.
pleased. It's So there's nobody, so we can just walk wherever we want now. Fantastic.
It's our own little place, isn't it? Would you hang my hat up, please?
I'm not doing chores.
What are you going to do? You're going to have to learn some independence, girl. There's a war on.
Look, we get
Wow, look.
The Taylor's old scullery has been transformed into Albert Road's air raid shelter.
Everything has been taken over, isn't it? And this looks quite grim down here, actually.
I'm sleeping in top bunk.
I think, as a family, we're very lucky to have a shelter here. Whereas I think other families who live down the street would have to go out of their house. So I don't think we can whinge and moan, actually, about our shelter. I think, in fact, it's a very good shelter. So
Right, come on, shall we have a look upstairs?
Shall we look
See what's
upstairs?
happened to the nursery. Loads of war toys.
Well, that's what other kids would want to play with, isn't it?
You couldn't put your head down and forget about it, could you? There's not a room in the house as yet that we aren't being reminded that we're in wartime. Hey, we're home!
Hey, you've just walked straight past something.
In the 21st century, Ian and Naomi Golding believe in modern hands-on parenting.
Two rabbits.
When I want a stroke one.
The close-knit family spent the previous era living the middle-class dream.
Just to be together as a family.
1900s, we didn't see each other at all. Have you spotted this?
But war has brought the Goldings' golden age to an end.
Another one
Oh
there.
no,
What?
rabbit pie.
Rabbit
We
pie.
have to kill the rabbit.
Oh no.
Can I stroke one?
For the first time, everyone on Albert Road is going to be undergoing the same ordeal, living with a limited food supply.
Dried skimmed milk.
Dried eggs. How can you fit an egg in there?
There's nothing, look.
We're going to have to be pretty frugal this week.
Introduced 4 months into the war, rationing meant mums of all classes struggled to put food on the table.
I don't think we've had a huge amount of food since we've been here. You know, when you compare it to, 5 courses a day next door.
Like a baby.
I can't kill a rabbit. I couldn't. We'll be fine, even without the rabbit. We will manage.
Mum, I don't mind if you kill one.
I've already said I'm not killing a rabbit. They are so cute.
Returning home to their working-class abode, the Meadows are also in for a big surprise.
Oh my God!
Meat rationing meant that a pig suddenly became a valuable asset.
There is no way I'm
Many families banded together, and nearly 7,000 pig clubs were formed to raise livestock across the country.
I'm not eating that. I'd rather starve than kill that.
Yeah, Sam.
Yeah, me too.
No, I'll eat it.
No, I'm not.
Dad, she can hear you.
They won't kill you, I promise.
From Berkshire, the Meadows run their own successful family business, a polo school. But life at the bottom of Albert Road's social pile has been a constant struggle.
Soul-destroying, completely soul-destroying.
The family have been forced to live hand-to-mouth in order to survive.
All you do is think about food and tea and warmth. Food, tea, warmth. That's it. That's all you care about.
Oh,
we've got some veggies on the go here.
Brilliant! Yay!
Finally, things are looking up for the Meadows.
And what are these, Suze? These cabbages.
Those cabbages.
This will be one of beans.
As well as raising animals for meat, households were encouraged to dig for victory and grow their own vegetables to supplement their meagre rations.
That is rhubarb.
Oh, rhubarb! That would be lovely.
While rations were seen as a hardship by well-off families, the poorest actually improved their diets due to a lower sugar intake. Before the war, 2/3 of poor households were considered to be undernourished.
This is going to make a big difference to us. Before, it's been a question of, well, can we find a potato? Or, can we afford to buy some mince? So now, I think it's possibly going to be better for us as a working-class household.
Times are changing for the inhabitants of number 3. And Joe Crowley has important news for one member of the family.
Come with me. I've got some extra duties for you might be interested in. Do you know what this is on the corner of the street?
An air raid shelter?
Close. This is the local ARP warden's base. So, we need an ARP this week.
That'll be you then, Phil.
I would like to proudly bestow this helmet on Susie.
Oh!
1/6 of all air raid precaution wardens were women. It was one of the first times that women performed a uniformed civic defence role on Britain's streets.
You won't actually be sounding the siren. That's done from the police station locally.
Yes.
But just so we can tune our ears, come with me. Here is an air raid siren. So give it some welly, and let's see what this sounds like.
Are you ready?
I'm sorry to tell you that was a false alarm this time around.
There's a false alarm.
That's good, we're here, we're organised.
It's good.
It's good to practice.
This is what the ARP warden wants to see.
Right, we'll go back now. Thank you. Come on, guys.
Bye.
Have a good week.
Thank
It's
you.
going to be a tough one, but stay safe.
Thank you.
Okay, look after that pig.
Gas masks were issued to every man, woman and child.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Taylor. I've come to fit you with your gas mask.
As ARP warden, it's Susie's responsibility to keep the neighbours safe.
Oh, beautifully done. Perfect.
It suddenly makes it almost serious, doesn't it, putting these on?
I know.
And that this is a one-stop shop. You get it wrong,
And we died.
And you gassed.
It must have been really freaky, standing in like a room full of gas and all you've got to protect you really is this. So basically you have to rely on this for your survival.
Quite scary, actually, because they look like monsters in it.
Breathe in and out, make a noise. That's it.
It feels really strange putting little children in gas masks. I think that these are things that could happen to anybody, big or small. It just gives you the creeps, really, because you realise that they're really at risk.
By June 1940, after the British Army's retreat from Dunkirk, much of Northern Europe was occupied by the Nazis. With German forces poised across the Channel, Britain and its dominions stood alone. The government appealed for all able-bodied men to join the LDV, or Local Defence Volunteers, later to be renamed the Home Guard. Michael Taylor is a former member of the RAF, with 16 years' service behind him.
Do you like Dad's army?
We are Dad's army, yes. And
Oh, so you're not really in any danger then, are you? You're just kind
I've got more chance of shooting my foot, I think, than shooting anything else. When I joined up, it was more about a job, really, and a different environment for my life. It was never about fighting or anything else. I've got full respect for anybody who stands up and joins up, whatever, police, whatever, you know what I mean? I've always said that about people who stand up and be counted. You know, it's important.
Enjoy yourself.
Continue cooking.
What is that, his weapon?
She's evil, she is. Absolutely evil. You're not supposed to laugh!
Oh my gosh, that's scary.
With real weapons in short supply due to the needs of the regular army, volunteers had to make do with whatever came to hand.
Have you stolen that from my kitchen? Careful of yourself.
Look at that. I'll tell you what, if the Germans saw us coming, they'll run a mile.
Armed to the teeth with their makeshift weapons, the men are off to the seafront to join some local Home Guard enthusiasts.
Section in single file! Fall in!
One of the vital roles of the Home Guard was to patrol Britain's shoreline.
I think we're a bit of a dog's iron leg here, aren't we? Get it straight this time.
In Morecambe, many of the eligible men in the town volunteered.
By the left! Quick! Back! Right, left, right. Halt! Something funny.
He's learning how to walk.
He's learning how to walk, yeah. No, actually, that's not bad. That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad.
Arms straight.
In defence of the realm,
I don't get it. What am I doing?
all the social classes have been thrown together.
That was definitely
Despite living side by side on Albert Road,
Good evening, Mrs. Taylor.
Good evening, Phil.
the three families have spent the last 40 years separated by class.
Phil, the car is expensive to keep. We can no longer keep you employed.
Right.
Now the dads of Albert Road are forced to work together to protect their families.
About 10. Wait.
Dad, look at Dad. He does get a gun.
Oh, bless him. He's got a wooden gun and a Girl Guides hat. He's looking really mean. Are you proud of Daddy? He looks great, doesn't he?
Wait.
Just like an army, a family marches on its stomach.
Carefully selected pure cod liver oil. Oh, no, that's repulsive.
Done.
Right, line up in a queue.
To supplement a wartime diet short on fresh meat, fish and veg, a daily dose of cod liver oil was thought to keep kids rickets-free and fighting fit.
Nice, not nice?
Tastes like fish.
There you go. Next. Ready? Mess about and you get double. Good children, well done.
We make them sick.
If you mess about, you get double.
Oh, no, that is rank. Goodness me.
No longer a lady of leisure, Adele Taylor is now chef, nanny and mother combined.
Don't give it if you can't take
Oh, it feels fantastic being back. This is where I wanted to be all along, busy and doing something, and the kids are running around as they would at home, and it just feels more like a home again.
With a hungry house to feed, but with the cupboards bare, Adele is following government advice to make the most of her limited rations.
There we go.
One dish that mums across the land were encouraged to make was Woolton pie.
It's just severely lacking in meat. I wouldn't normally just do a vegetarian pie.
Named after the Minister for Food, Lord Woolton, the pie made use of root vegetables as meat was in such scarce supply.
Not quite
That is
dark
actually
yet.
really nice.
But it had its drawbacks.
I can imagine it might be quite smelly.
Dad, we do not talk about these things at the table. Just because we're out of Edwardian times and in a war doesn't give you permission to talk about rude things at the table.
Good job we got gas masks, eh? I reckon we've come down a peg or two since the 1900s, though, don't you?
Yeah. I like
We're
this
eating
better.
together.
Yeah, that's really good.
This food is actually nicer.
The first time we've actually sat down all
Sweet.
together.
Mm.
So things are looking up.
Mm.
I'm the washer. Leave it. Where's that tea towel?
Oh, quick, guys, grab your...
An air raid warning could come at any time.
Come on, Jack. Right, Kate's on.
Once the siren sounded, people often had just minutes to get to the nearest shelter before the bombs began to fall.
Goldings! Get all your stuff!
The Second World War placed the British family right on the front line. In an attempt to bring Britain to its knees, the Germans dropped tens of thousands of bombs on ports, factories, but also on family homes.
Right, quick, down you go.
No, down here. We hope we've made you comfy.
It's not going to be cool, but it's coming.
Hey, it'll do. We're all together, aren't we?
We're all together.
In total, over the duration of the war, more than 2 million homes were destroyed.
Can you hear the airplanes? Listen.
That is really
It's a bit frightening being down here because even though I know it's not real, you can feel what they must have felt in those days when the war was going on, and it must have been absolutely horrible for them, and they wouldn't have been able to sleep down here. No way. At all.
Where's our comfort and reassurance? We're fragile beings.
We're safe down here.
Feel protected.
We're safe down here.
To gambling.
You two just have a, you know, you'll be all right.
Oh, gosh.
This is what we'd have done. We'd have just carry on, try and block it out, and just get on with it.
You'd want to give an exterior to tell everybody else that you're carrying on and that everything's all right, because you want to keep everything calm. You don't want to scare everybody, and you know what I mean? When they're coming over.
Can we please get our mother in here?
I think I'd be happy if Susie were down here.
Yeah.
Even with the families safe in the shelter, the dangerous job of the ARP warden was far from over. Many were killed or injured, serving their communities.
I do feel slightly vulnerable, surrounded by sandbags on my own, while, you know, there's mayhem all around me, and anyone I know and love is down in the basement of a lovely house. I'm not sure I would have signed up for this. I don't know whether I've got what it takes.
I think we should go and get her, to be honest. Everyone
you
else
don't go, I'll
feels the
go.
same, and you're sat there playing a
You're
card
definitely
game.
not going. If I go out there, okay, and something happens to me, they then have to come and look for me. No.
She knows what she's doing. She's the warden, isn't she? That's her job.
Oh,
here we go.
There has been some bomb damage. I've got to take you with the torch. There's been a power cut. And so we need just to err on the side of caution.
Oh my
So
God,
be careful where you walk.
During the 9 months of the Blitz alone, nearly 45,000 British civilians lost their lives.
So we're clearing up tomorrow, okay, guys?
Yeah,
All
we'll
of us
sort it out.
together.
Come on, let's just get in the house,
Get
guys.
in the house, go to bed. I'll see you in the morning.
Often, families returned to homes without electricity or gas, with cables and pipes having been damaged by falling bombs.
Right, so...
He's up for tea, everyone?
Yeah, absolutely.
For once, living in a working-class house powered by coal has its benefits.
The great British fix is, isn't it, having a cup of tea? 5 minutes' time, we'll all be in the right.
I want the lights back on.
For the Golding children, the reality of life in wartime is sinking in.
It's all right, you're all safe now, okay?
Surreal, so from being a very comical, fun day, suddenly the reality of what actually happened hit us. And that's when, for the first time, the children got really spooked.
I don't want it to happen again.
And it just makes you think what children would have felt the first time that happened for real. You know, in 1939, 1940, they must have been absolutely scared out of their wits.
We had quite significant damage through the hallway. Besides that, the rest of the drawing room got on okay. Great picture of Great Aunt Marge was all right. And then through to the kitchen, which Adele's now busy cleaning up and getting ready for breakfast.
It is going to take a little while till we're ready, guys, because it's filthy.
The gas is still off, so we haven't got a cup of tea.
The Taylors are in need of a helping hand from their less well-to-do neighbours.
The bit of cake we've got left over, we're going to take a couple of slices down to the Meadows and say to them, would you like some cake? And would you be able to fill the flask up with some boiling water so we can have a nice cup of tea, as we've got no gas?
So, yeah, how the worm has turned.
That's certainly turned.
So we're the ones in need. Do you know what? Isn't it ironic that now you're the ones where we all want to be? What a twist of fate.
The Germans hoped that an intense bombing campaign would destroy the morale of the British public.
Some serious damage outside yours.
I know.
Come on, Mr. Taylor. If you didn't have such a big house, you wouldn't have so much rubbish.
But amongst the debris, new bonds are being formed.
30 years ago, I wouldn't even look him in the eye. You know, I kept my head down like this, and he'd walk past in case I upset him or did something wrong, and I got sacked or whatever. So it is amazing now the two of us are out here clearing up your house.
Times, wasn't it?
Still clearing up his house.
It's amazing what a good war does, isn't it?
So, I really like the sense of community that is building.
Yes, they're all working together outside, aren't they? Everyone's hands-on. And we're whisking.
And we're whisking and beating together.
We're very housewifely, aren't we?
And what's Adele's excuse for not being here?
I'm not quite sure. She was, she's so excited to have a kitchen, I think. We'll have this looking cleaner than when I started.
Albert Road might have taken a pasting, but a new fighting spirit has emerged.
I'm now thinking, go and bomb them bloody Germans, finish them off, not coming in my kitchen and wrecking it. So I can see how it kind of... I don't know whether bombing civilians was counterproductive, because you suddenly get this uprise of people really angry. And it's only a bit muck, but I'm a bit fed up that they've come and done this.
As the war raged on, the army needed ever more soldiers to swell its ranks.
I've come to give you some news you must have been half expecting. You two, Michael and Ian, you're both under 41, so I've got your conscription papers. You're going to war. Mr. Golding, Mr. Taylor.
I've just got my family back, and we've been ripped apart again.
At 50, Phil Meadows is too old to be conscripted.
You're going to keep in the Home Guard. Your contribution to the home front is going to be just as important as these guys to the battlefield. How do you feel?
You want to go and do your bit, especially when your mates are going. Especially when your mates are going.
Yeah, that's true.
As a mate, that's really nice, that is. I'm touched. I'm touched.
Good luck.
I appreciate it.
Yes.
Really good luck, okay?
Thank you very much. Come on, let's go and say goodbye.
Yeah.
Oh no, Daddy's leaving us. Just now? You're going now?
I haven't got much time, is all I've been told. So I just have to... I'm going to war, Katie.
Great. Now?
Yes, today we're off.
You're going to be doing one in the house?
No, and Megan. Megan's
Surprise. So is that all it does? It just says you've got to go?
Yeah, that's it.
Right, OK.
To be able to go and have the opportunity to go to war is good. You know, I'll be doing something that's vital to my family and to families all over the country. So, no, I'm ready for it now, and I'm sure Naomi will get on with it here.
We'll be fine, won't we? We'll be fine.
I can shoot a gun better than them, ride a horse better than them, drive a car better than them. So why should I be stuck at home?
It's an age thing, a fitness thing, yeah?
And I can probably out-fitness them. It's probably something to do with being old. I don't think people like being old. And it's kind of reconfirmed the fact that you're not good enough to go out and fight for your country.
Next door, before Ian Golding leaves for war, Juliet has come to reveal how the conflict changed some of his family's lives forever. Ian's great-aunt Minnie was married to Nathan Kassler. Together they had 3 daughters, Edith, Brenda and Natalie.
You know that they're a London family.
Yes.
Nathan in particular was very anxious about the bombing, coming. And so he moved his family to Brighton. Now, that is a picture of the 3 girls. The oldest one, Edith, then Brenda,
And that's Natalie.
the little Natalie there. But of course, as we know, there's no safety in the Second World War.
No.
Brighton was badly bombed.
On the 9th of April 1941, a moonlit raid was to devastate Brighton.
What happened, unfortunately, in that moonlit raid was that a bomb fell on Norfolk Square, where Nathan, Minnie and the 3 children were living.
Huh.
If you have a look here...
So Brenda, she was only 11, died due to war operations. Edith Kassler, 16 years. Natalie Kassler, female of 5. Blimey, so 5, 11 and 16.
A day later, their father's body was found. Miraculously, Ian's great-aunt Minnie survived the blast.
I mean, to live the rest of your life with that, to have been the one that survived, you'd almost probably would have preferred to have died as well. Well, it's interesting When you think about where to send your children, I mean, obviously they chose to go to Brighton, which maybe that makes it all the worse. You know, can you imagine if that was our 3 children?
She thought she was keeping her family together by doing what she did, and then she didn't. Ultimately, she didn't end up with the children.
We should never forget, and we should talk about it more. And I think it's important that we don't forget going forward.
Evacuation out of the cities was agreed by all to be the best way to keep children safe.
Right, what you need in your suitcases are your pyjamas.
The women of Albert Road aren't just losing their husbands.
Here we go. Jack?
Yeah?
Would you like a new cardigan to take?
I think in the modern day, you try and prepare your children for everything.
Huh?
I think they'll all be fine, as long as they're together.
I'm sad and happy. Sad because Mum's on her own, and happy because I'm going with my friends and we're going to have a really nice time.
It must have been tough for mums. It's hard to be without your family, but you know you've done your best for them. To just keep them safe. And I think that's your duty as a mum, to keep them safe, and it's your duty as a wife to carry on.
I'm trying to keep positive about it. I think this must have been heartbreaking for the mums, and to have to pack all the cases up with all their belongings in.
I think it would be really hard for the children. Yeah, because they're leaving their mum for like weeks maybe. And it'll be hard for mums as well, won't it? Yeah, because they'll have to stay at home. On their own. All the time. We're all together and then we just have to sort of leave each other, don't we? One happy day. Yeah, just one. And then it's like the Edwardian times. Yeah.
Wartime parents said goodbye, not knowing when it would be safe for their children to return, or how long it would be until they saw them again.
Oh no, she hasn't got smiley face.
You're very excited, aren't you?
That was
Thank you.
You have to smile for them, don't you? Smile for them. You're right.
Another era, another separation. Yeah, it's really difficult. I suppose you're just trying to imagine what the women must have been going through, and it must have been hell, absolute hell.
Well, yeah, because you didn't have any idea when they'd be back. Some of the times they don't even know where they're going.
And by now I'd have already rang the other end to check that, that they were
you
at
on
the
the
other end
platform.
waiting to receive
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And there would have to be another phone call this evening to check that they'd eaten, and another one to check that they were in bed. Come on, let's go home.
Teenagers Genevieve, Saskia and Megan are old enough not to face being evacuated.
Oh, I hate chickens with a passion.
Instead, they are going to be making up for the shortage of agricultural labourers by joining the Women's Land Army.
Are there any more in there?
What? Has anybody ever milked a cow?
No.
No. What's that smell? Do you know which end you milk a cow?
Yeah, that. Well done, Saskia.
Have you got some?
Yeah.
I can hear it.
I'm not going to lie, this isn't pleasant. Looks a bit like it's semi-skimmed.
No, it's not semi-skimmed.
I'll try now.
Right, off you go.
I just wanted to see someone do it.
Oh,
come on, talk to her then.
Oh. Being able to work with Saskia and Genevieve is really good, because before being upper class and then being working class meant that the class divisions, we couldn't actually talk to each other. This era, it just seems like everybody's brought together. So it's really nice to get out of your family group and out of all the class restrictions into just mixing with everybody.
That's what happens as well.
I don't want to get back over there now.
Betty!
Does have a bit of a waft going on.
The war has separated Naomi Golding from her entire family.
When I'm fine, I think they'll be absolutely fine. They didn't seem bothered at all, actually. They were really happy. I'm lucky, but women in the 40s wouldn't have been so lucky in the war. Because I know it's only a finite time, so. The only sad thing, I suppose, was I got my basket ready to take to the shelter later. I had to take 4 mugs out. I thought, I don't need those. That was sad. I think that'll be weird tonight. If there's an air raid siren to go next door, and just be on my own. That'll be weird. Very hard, because I mean, all the pictures painted and everything that tells you is like, yeah, keep a stiff upper lip and whatever. And I guess it's these quiet times where this is when women did have their emotions. And all the pictures you see and all the propaganda you see is that we all got on with it, and you know, and I'm sure we did when we left the house. But when you're on your own and you've got quiet time, that's when it hits you that it's very quiet. It's very lonely. I don't like being on my own.
Waving the kids off was really difficult. I've got Megan, which is lovely to have somebody, and she'll be my kind of rock now to keep me going. What would be the alternative? Sitting here blubbing into my hanky? It just, you know, who's that going to help? It's helping nobody. The only thing that I can do now to help is get the street together, make sure everybody's fed and warm and ready for what the next disaster might be. So, yeah, I can kind of see how this Blitz spirit gets everybody driven.
So that Naomi isn't left alone, the whole street has come together at Adele's house.
Hello, everybody.
And they are pooling their rations to make them go that little bit further.
This is Susie's offering of beef stew, which looks absolutely cracking, actually.
To some absent comrades. Good luck to the boys, is what we can say.
And the kids, and the children.
Absolutely. Hopefully there are lots of
And Susie.
Another night, another air raid. Londoners suffered 57 consecutive nights of bombing. And the Blitz raged for 9 grueling months.
Well, what a homely scene this is. Everyone tucking in. 6 women and me. Joy.
Here they come.
That is loud.
Oh, with the kids not here, I'm actually a little bit more relaxed because I worry about them.
It's nice to know they're out there having fun, even if we're stuck down here.
And they've experienced one night, and that's quite plenty.
For the families on Albert Road, there is no let-up either. The remaining residents are forced to stay overnight in the shelter. The dawn brings a shock for the remaining resident of number 2 Albert Road. around 2.25 million Britons were made homeless as a result of German bombs.
It was strange to come in and see it. I suspected that might happen. I suspected it might have been bombed, so it wasn't total surprise. You just want to make it right. Just want to make it better. Just come in and clear up and get on with it.
Meanwhile, Suzie Meadows is reeling from seeing the luxury of the Taylor house for the first time.
They have it so much better than we do. I mean, I've come home and already I'm covered in soot. It's horrible. And there's no bathroom. And I really, 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 really want a bathroom.
Oh, no, we're in good moods this morning.
Are we good? Because of people like Susie, we won the war.
30 miles away in the Yorkshire Dales, new conscripts Michael and Ian are being put through basic army training.
Are you suffering, Mr. Golding? No, sir. Are you suffering? No, sir. Come on, the enemy's firing at you. Let's get there. Let's get up there. This is where you have to dig deep, find something else inside you. I'm not as fit as I used to be. I mean, moving up and down hills is all right when you're 18, 19, but 39, it's not much fun anymore. Come on, John, we'll get through this.
With the men away at war, a revolution is underway on the home front. Adele and Naomi are learning the skills that their 1940s counterparts used to build planes and bombs for the war effort.
Michael would die if he saw me with a gas axe. He didn't trust me with a kettle. That's scary. I'm shaking. Brilliant. I love it. I'm thinking of a career change.
This time of war gave women the opportunity to work. You know, in the 30s, it was not seen the right thing to be done for married women to work. So I think this is the start of women being able to have the choice. So I think the war has started to enable women to have even more of a voice than they had in the interwar years, especially when it comes to working.
I really enjoyed that. So good. I just wonder, after a period of time, though, whether this becomes your new life, and are you so keen to give it up when everybody comes home?
During the 6 long years of war, the Ministry of Food encouraged people to think more creatively when putting food on the table. Joe Crowley's sent the Meadows one type of meat that Britain wasn't short of. Squirrel.
Ready?
Is it hairy?
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
We've got a cookbook and we have a couple of recipes.
Squirrel pie.
It's squirrel pie, squirrel soup and roast squirrel. But I'm sorry, but even if you cook it, I can't eat it.
For those who couldn't stomach changing their eating habits and were prepared to put their conscience to one side, the illegal black market made the pain of rationing easier to swallow.
Can I ask who you are? Sorry if you're walking in my kitchen.
I'm just door to door.
Ah, right, OK.
Anything I can interest you in? Some coffee, flour, sugar, chocolate?
Oh, I'm tempted by the coffee.
Have the coffee. Tell you what, I'll do the coffee at 2 shillings. That's a bargain.
Where has all this come from?
Well, I've got my sources, I can't tell you that. But don't have a conscience about it. You need coffee.
Have a conscience.
You want oranges.
There's a war on. I'm going to say no on this occasion.
No. I'll tell you what, last price, 1 shilling.
No, I'm going to stick to my principles and say no.
Right.
Coffee. I love coffee. I don't know what people would have done, but I feel really uncomfortable taking it if I'm thinking it's coming off somebody else. But then I'm going to be gutted if everybody else has bought it and I haven't.
Morning.
Hi there, how are you?
Loads of goodies for you today.
Oh, yeah? What have we got in there?
All sorts.
Oh, we've not seen some of this for a while.
I bet you ain't.
Chocolate, don't let my kids see that.
What are you interested in?
Coffee for me and the wife, bit of chocolate. Just the treat stuff will be good because we're not doing too bad for the others at the moment.
What about eggs?
Oh, we could do with some eggs. What about a little deal? What about 5 shillings plus 2 fresh squirrels? Done deal. Excellent. OK.
See you next time.
Cheers. This would have been the way that they survived. It's not excessive. You know, if he was turning up in a truck going, right, here's your bully beef that should be at the front, stealing, you know, feeding our soldiers, and I don't think anyone would take it. I do feel as though I'm putting enough in that a little treat like this works in the positive. I would do it again. If I'm honest, I bet everyone did.
As ever, Juliet Gardner is on hand to underline the rules of history. Selling on the black market was punishable by prison or a fine equivalent to 5 times the average weekly wage.
Phil, how could you?
Red-handed. I couldn't resist a little treat for my family.
Do you know who got eggs? Normally, your family, as you know, would be getting something like an egg in a fortnight.
Yes.
Extra eggs of expectant mothers, for nursing mothers. What do you think rationing's for, Phil? Rationing is to give fair shares to everyone. I mean, nobody wanted to be rationed, of course they didn't, but they recognised that, you know, the fairness of it, the justice of it. This has been stolen.
I really don't want to go to prison. I don't. So I've had some horrible things happen to me. I don't want to go to prison now, please.
Consider yourself reprimanded.
Thank you. I felt like I was back at school.
As the war drew to a close and the risk of bombing receded, thousands of kids began heading home.
Oh, Mummy.
Hello, hello. Have you had a good time? Hello.
No.
What do you mean? Oh, how perfect is this? Huh?
Jack, are you ready for some dinner?
Adele's declared an open house, and the whole street is invited.
This looks spectacular.
It is. It's just like one big happy family all here together. And in half an hour, they'll all be fighting and squabbling. But it's lovely. Full house.
Today, Michael and Ian are expected to return from their military service.
It's a bit of a sad statistic that Ian and I have lived together for 18 years, and we've only not spoken for one night in the whole of that time, in 18 years. And now it's been 2 nights. So thanks to this experience, we've broken a new record.
Naomi and Adele want to doll themselves up for their men. But with simple beauty products in short supply,
It was like a little chemistry session, isn't it?
they're going to have to improvise.
I'm putting beetroot on my face. That's all right, actually, isn't it? And it's got a nicer taste than the normal lipstick.
To recreate the allure of a pair of stockings, an antifungal treatment, potassium permanganate, was applied to bare legs.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, dodgy effect. I've got to do the whole leg now. Oh, no,
What's
that's
happened
not
there?
attractive, is it? And it smells.
Ooh.
My hands are all brown as well. I think I'd have been happy just with white legs, really. It must have been really weird when the husbands came back. Michael's done 4-month tours, and you kind of get very independent. You get used to managing your own stuff. And then when he came home, although I was glad to see him come home, I was kind of a little bit resentful as well, because I've got this ship running really well, and then you're coming in. And it's a lot of conflict. 'Cause
Eyeliner is used to create a stocking seam, a look that few men could resist.
So which looks more realistic? The leg with the patchy brown stains or the line? I'm glad you're finding my
really good.
I think maybe I might get a pair of trousers.
Wartime dads could have been away from home for years. Unlike Michael and Ian, nearly 300,000 British men never returned to see their families again. One of those who didn't come home, as Susanna Reid has discovered, was Michael Taylor's great-uncle, Thomas Henry Worthington.
He was in the 1st Battalion of the Manchester Regiment. He was posted to Singapore, and we know that from his military records. These are his enlistment papers.
Wow.
When he first joined the war. He was involved in the Battle of Singapore, which took place in 1942.
Yep.
And it was when Japan invaded Singapore. It was the second week of February 1942, and on the 15th, Singapore fell to the Japanese.
Right.
It was described as the worst defeat and largest capitulation in British history by Churchill himself.
Yeah.
So it was hugely significant. 80,000 Allied soldiers were taken as prisoners of war. And we know that your great uncle, Thomas Henry Worthington, was taken as a prisoner of war
Right.
after that battle.
Thank you.
He was taken to Thailand and taken to work on the Thailand-Burma Railway.
Right.
And it was one of the most notorious and brutal places to work, so it didn't get much better.
What a rubbish time he had, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Adds up like that, you think, crikey. Bless him.
We have his prisoner of war record card here.
Crikey.
And from his prisoner of war record, we also know what happened to him.
Okay.
Because a red line was drawn through the card when
Right.
someone died. And you can see from...
The red line through there.
Denied basic medical treatment by his captors, on the 1st of June 1943, Thomas Worthington died of cholera. He was 32 years old and left behind a widow, Gwendolyn.
It must have been terrifying. Absolutely terrifying to go away, and they all still did it. And he still got up and still went across and still fought and still got captured and still carried on as best they can.
We've experienced a taster, but all along you can't recreate that element of real danger and real fear and real loss that these people are going through. It's just... War brings out the best and the worst in human nature, doesn't it? We've seen the best. You know, if this was my street now, I would be so proud of it that we've all pulled together. But that's awful.
It truly is.
On the 8th of May 1945, Germany surrendered. The war in Europe was over, and for the first time in 6 years, British families had something to celebrate. As their wartime experience draws to a close, the families on Albert Road are throwing their own VE Day party for the locals.
I think the highlight of this era is us all being able to come together as three families. We're all different people from different walks of life. We all came together, and that was wonderful.
For me, this has been fantastic.
The best decade.
The best decade yet. And I kind of do it with a guilty edge, because I'm aware that there's a serious side to it, but I've loved every minute of it.
Why, Adele? Why in particular?
Because when we're together, we are truly together. When the kids are at home, we are all chipping in, and this has just been wonderful.
The hardships of the Second World War, that changed things for women.
Yeah.
And for you in a good way.
I can make decisions, I can do stuff, and in the last 2 eras, I've just felt like I've been locked in this cage, and this has been, let's cook together, eat together, you know, sleep together is wrong, but share my cellar with you.
Wait till the 60s, hang on. How about you then? What's been the decade you'd choose?
Oh, this one. We're all mucked in, we all had tea together, and it was just a little thing. It was more like family again.
Less some more, less some more. The long and the short and the tall. Bless all the sergeants and WO1s. Bless all the corporals and their blinking sons, 'cause we're saying goodbye to them all.
How about you, Susie? What did you think about the 40s?
I've had a few big roles, so I was the ARP, which meant that I was sort of in a position of authority, which I actually quite like. So I've liked the job. I've liked the fact that, you know, women are taking control a bit of stuff going on back home. The respect that I have now for the generation that lived through the war is as high as it could possibly be, because I'm not sure that we would cope being sort of the softies from the 21st century. I actually don't think we would survive it. They were amazing on every single level.
With a new Britain emerging after the war, middle-class families sought a fresh start, and new suburbs and towns were being built to accommodate them. Ian's grandparents moved to the suburbs, and therefore the Goldings will be following them, marking the end of Ian and Naomi's time on Albert Road.
Amazing experience.
It's something you can't learn from a history book. To actually live it, you feel the emotion behind it as well.
It's been, I think, one of the most amazing experiences of my life, and I don't regret for a second doing it. But the other thing that hasn't amazed me is how amazing Naomi's been.
Do you say that as well?
But it's true. I think men, even today, think they've got it tough, but the men have never had the hard job. You know, it's the woman that keeps the family together, and it always has been. And Naomi has shown, I think, through all three periods, what an amazing woman she is.
Oh, stop it.
The war years have changed things forever on Albert Road.
It's time to say goodbye to the Golding family. You're going to be leaving us here at Albert Road, and we're going to miss you.
Next time, the swinging 60s hit Albert Road.
It's not bad, it's all right.
Lordy.
For the Meadows, life is sweet.
Oh, wow. We've got a television.
I mean, I'm just so happy.
Until rebellious teens threaten to spoil the party.
You guys have really offended us. You do know that, don't you?
It's back to work for the Taylors.
I hate sitting around thinking about things. I'd rather be busy and occupied.
And it's a rude awakening for the new arrivals on the street.
Can't sleep in this. It's not the way I've been brought up.